What's going on, guys? Fun with Knives back again. In this video, I'm going to be answering the questions you guys asked on my Get to Know Fun with Knives video a couple days back. So thanks everyone who commented. I think I got some cool questions and definitely enough to do a video. So here we go. I'll start with the oldest comment first. DubGlock23. He comments pretty frequently. He's a pretty cool dude. What is your Grail knife? Well, for a while it was this one, the ZT-0220. It had everything I was really looking for in a higher end knife, and then I ended up getting it. So not my Grail knife anymore, but the only model that really comes to mind as far as a Grail knife right now is the Microtech Bounty Hunter Ultratech. It's the Boba Fett themed Mandalorian out the front, double action, fully serrated Tonto. Definitely not my style of EDC knife, but that thing's so freaking cool because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and that's just an awesome collector's piece, and I think I would get some use out of it, but I think it's right around $290, and I don't really have the cash to drop on that right now, but that's a good question. Moving on, tech and tools. What was the first knife that you loved so much that you considered it to be your quote-unquote last knife? And for us knife collectors, we definitely know that feeling. For me, it was this one, the Kershaw Knockout. When I got this knife, I was like, yep, I'm done. I don't need to collect anymore. This knife has everything I'm looking for, and I can be done now. And obviously that didn't work. I've had that feeling multiple times. Actually, the Spyderco Manix too lightweight. I was like, yeah, good stopping point. This ZT for sure, I had that same feeling, but it's fleeting. It's, you know, a matter of a couple minutes before you're looking again or thinking about another knife that you could purchase. So I don't think I'm going to be stopping anytime soon, but great question for sure. Rich said, what are your thoughts on traditional knives? I think they're interesting for sure. They're not my thing right now. I think they're classy. I think a lot of them are collectible, and most importantly, they're unintimidating. They're kind of gentlemanly. They go good with suits and, you know, business attire, and they're definitely usable. So I think they're going to stick around. It's not just going to go all to stuff like this. It's going to be, you know, those traditional knives are really going to stick around. But I'd rather buy things that you see in front of you rather than, you know, say a case knife. But I think they're cool. And he also asked, what are your thoughts on fixed blades? I love fixed blades. I use them quite frequently. I have EDC fixed blades. I have ones I take up into the mountains when I go hiking or camping. And I think, you know, they're probably the most useful kind of knife. But folders are just a lot cooler. I think you can talk about the action and the lockup and, you know, the design of the flipper or whatever it is. So I'm more of a folder guy. I find them to be, they're just more interesting to talk about and more fun to review. So yeah, I'm a folder guy, but fixed blades definitely have their place in my world. Knife path. How much do you budget each month to add knives to your collection? There's no set amount. I really fluctuate. There'll be some months where I'll spend $300 on knives and, you know, add 12 to my collection or something crazy like that. And other months, you know, I actually lose a couple because I'll sell them or, you know, I'll give them away or something like that. So no set amount for sure. I try not to get too crazy. Do you sell and trade knives that either you don't like or you don't see yourself carrying? Absolutely. I don't just sell them all the time, but I have had sales in the past. I've, you know, sold them to family members for cheap and stuff like that. Ones that I just really found that I didn't like. But in general, I buy things that I'm fairly sure I'm going to like. So a lot of them stick around. And yeah, I've looked into trades. I've done a few, a little bit more sketchy than just the selling. So what is your ideal EDC knife? This one's also from Knife Path. Blade length, action handle, etc. So it would be something like this knife, this ZT-0220, mixed with some aspects from the Knockout, my two favorite knives. The deep carry clip, the titanium handle, the aluminum backspacer, the futuristic design, stonewash blade, blade length of 3.4 inches, frame lock, flipper on ball bearings, and just definitely a futuristic, kind of colorful, unique design. That's probably what I would build if I could do it myself. So those are good questions. Survival 101, from one small channel to another. Great video. Thanks, man. I don't think I've checked out your channel yet, so I'll have to do that pretty soon. But thank you. Johnny Life said, how are you doing, man? I'm doing great. I'm talking about knives. It's what I love to do. And yeah, I mean, I'm telling you guys a little bit about myself and hopefully growing my channel a little bit. So yeah, I'm doing awesome. Jason Hess, what got you started collecting knives? My brother gave me my first one. I used it until that thing was dull. That was a Kershaw Blur, and that took a long time actually. And I realized, I was like, man, I don't have any sort of sharpening systems. And like non-knife people, I was like, yeah, I'll just go to the hardware store or Walmart, pick something up. And I was like, you know what, maybe I'll look online. And as I was looking, I just saw the world of knives and the community and the designs and the blade steels and the locks. And I was really educating myself before I made a purchase, and I bought a couple, and before I knew it, you know, I knew more about knives than I really cared to, and it kind of started a hobby all of a sudden where I was, you know what, I don't need to buy this other thing, I'll buy a knife. And you know, I had 15 all of a sudden, then I had 30. So yeah, just kind of something I fell into. How many knives do you own? I don't know, I haven't taken account in a little while. Probably 60 or 70 at this very moment. It fluctuates. I get some, I get rid of some. But something around there. Do you have a favorite brand? Hell yes. Kershaw. Kershaw's been my favorite brand for my entire knife collecting career. I bought more Kershaws than anything, and I just grabbed some out of my drawer here, and you can see that they're mostly Kershaws. As of recently, I'm more into ZTs, but they're definitely going to be pricier, but they're part of the same group that KAI. They're sister brands, so Kershaw and ZT all the way. I do like Spyderco, I do like CRKT. I'm not a huge fan of Gerber or SOG, but I do like, you know, Ezzy knives, and Ontario is pretty cool. So I buy from quite a few companies, but those are my favorite. Favorite blade shape. How about a big belly drop point like this Knockout? Something with a lot of belly, flat ground, and just a really great slicer. That's what I love for EDC knives. Lockup, definitely going to be a frame lock. Material, handle will do aluminum or titanium, and blade steel. It really depends on the price. If it's going to be a higher end folder, S30V, S35VN is kind of my favorite area. Anything above that in hardness or, you know, expense, a more super steel, a finer grain structure, whatever you want to say, then I have trouble sharpening it, and you know, things like that. And if I want a more budget oriented folder, Sandvik 14C28N, like on this Skyline here, and CTS BD1. Those are probably my favorite lower end, but still kind of mid-range steels. So great questions. And what sharpening system do you use? Almost forgot to mention that. I have kind of a weird sharpening setup where I have a whole bunch of it's a conglomerate of sharpening things like strops and diamond rods and different things. It's not a set system, and it's something I've been looking into for a long time. You know, I've thought about doing the Spyderco Sharp Maker or the KME or the Edge Pro Apex. You know, now that I have some higher end models, I need a higher end sharpening system, and I'll probably be happier for it. So if you guys have a sharpening system you love, I don't like the automated, you know, the machine belt fed ones. I think I'm looking for a guided system. So if you guys do have any guided systems that you really recommend, you know, feel free to comment them. I'm still looking into it, so good question for sure though. Cameron Stone, what knives have bitten you and any knives that you have broken? Love the vids. Glad you're liking them, dude. I did a video in the discussion category called Knives Attack. If you want to watch that one, Cameron, it's pretty funny. Wow, pretty funny. I had, I think, 3 knives that really got me. So if you want to go listen to that story, it's pretty cool. And then any knives that I've broken, I've only broken one, really. I've chipped some tips before and messed up some lockups a little bit, but the Kershaw Grid, a new for 2016 model, I didn't even get a chance to review it because I was kind of carrying it around, and I bent out the pocket clip. I put on a backpack or something, really bent it out. I was kind of upset with it, and I was like testing it out. I broke the tip really badly, and then I just kind of broke the lock bar off because it was really thin, and I was questioning the structural integrity of it, and I was probably being too hard on it, and I broke it. So nothing against Kershaw, I just said they're my favorite company, and they will continue to be so, but I didn't have a great experience with the Grid. So yeah. Johnny Life, could you do a knife collection / EDC gear collection video? I did something fairly similar before, but another subscriber kind of commented and said that. And Johnny Life said, I meant more like what gear he uses with his knives. So yeah, I can do a video like that, show you some of the stuff I carry that's not a knife. Yeah, I'll take some of those video ideas for sure. The Alaskan Knife Guy, do you have any Grail knives? Kind of touched on that. I'm interested in a whole lot of models though. Some stuff from like Reich knives really interest me. Some Kaiser knives, higher end ZTs, like the Spyderco Mamba, stuff like that. Those are all kind of Grail knives, but and also, what is your opinion on custom knives? I've been asked this question in person actually, and I think custom knives are awesome. I just do not have the budget to support buying a custom knife. If I did, I would probably be very interested in them. But, you know, I watch Jim Skelton's channel, as I'm sure you guys probably do too. He's got all the custom knives and great commentary and stuff. But, no, they're probably not in my future. I'll probably get up to a mid-tech or two in the very far away future. But yeah, custom knives, one dude touching your knife, designing it, doing the mill work, the sharpening, all the fitting. That's an awesome idea. Definitely worth the price on most of them. So that one guy 98, what's one knife company that you don't see yourself ever buying from and why? We'll do any company that exclusively makes clones. That really rubs me the wrong way when companies, their only goal is to copy things from Spyderco and Strider and, you know, even Kershaw, ZT, you know, where they're just stealing designs, making them out of crappier materials, and then selling them at a lower price point to undercut that company. And, you know, it just sucks. They're just stealing intellectual property, and it's just kind of a dumb thing that I wouldn't want to support. Now, that's not to say, you know, Gonzo knives and stuff like that aren't cool. Maybe one of those is in my future. I don't know. Those are all kind of ripoffs. So, yeah, the clone thing I'm not super fond of, and I haven't bought any yet, and I'm not really planning to. So, that's a good question. Knife Crazy, what is your most expensive knife you own? This one right here, the ZT0456. I used it a lot today. Had to clean it a couple times. CTS 204P steel. This one's $240, I believe, right now, followed by this 0220, which costs $228. Those are my most expensive knives. And then he said, how old are you? I am 20 years old, believe it or not. I've had people tell me, you know, on Instagram or YouTube before that I sound older. Some people say I sound younger. So I'm a young dude. I'm 20 years old. I don't have a huge knife collection, but I'm getting started. You know, I've only been doing this a few years. So, yeah. How AML said, opinion on Kaiser, I think he said Riate and Wee knives. Kaiser knives, I think they're awesome. I'm definitely going to get some in the future. Birdshot 4 really recommends them, so I trust his and Frankie's opinion a ton. So Kaiser knives, absolutely. Great company. I'm excited to get into those ones. Riate, I really do not know much about them other than a couple other models like the Wave, so can't really comment there. And Wee knives, oh, I know I've looked at a couple, but not enough to give any insight or thought on. So sorry for that question, you know, that response. I really don't know much about them. Cyclone Outdoors, you're stranded on an island and got 5 things. What do you take? I don't know if this is a serious question or a funny one, so I'm going to answer it in a funny way. Definitely this knife right here, in case I get bored, something to flip around. Some sunblock so I don't get sunburnt. A lawn chair to sit on that beach and wait for someone to rescue me. I definitely have to take my lady and just some music because I'd go insane with that music. I need something playing in the background. So those are my 5 things. Matt Maiden, what is your favorite knife or most carried? Absolutely the CT0220 right now. Previously, it was the Kershaw Knockout. Before that, I don't know, the Kershaw Blur. I kind of go through phases, but that ZT is hard to keep out of my pocket for sure. Gone Riding, tell us a little bit about what you do with your knives, how many and how many you have. I touched on how many I had, but what I do with my knives, I actually find a lot of uses. Even though I work in an office, I do a whole lot of just opening letters and crap, but I do deal with some products, so I'm constantly opening up and cutting down boxes. I do a lot of food prep stuff for my lunch, or, you know, just fruit. And then the normal stuff, cutting open mail, you know, strings off my clothes, tags off stuff. And then if I'm outdoors, I'm going to be doing a lot more harder stuff where I'm whittling sticks, or I'm, you know, batoning some firewood and stuff like that. But I do use my knives constantly, and not in the sense where I'm looking for a reason, even though I am a knife guy. I do really find a lot of use for them, so that's a good thing. And then what part of the country are you in? I am in the Rockies. I'm out in the West. And then Steve Wellborn, this is the last comment. I think you have a very good channel. Keep it up. Do you ever think about trading knives for knives? Absolutely. I always do. I keep that in mind quite a bit. It's a little bit scary. You don't know who you're dealing with. I like the Instagram thing where you can kind of DM each other back and forth and show each other pictures and videos of the knives. So maybe if you're interested, Steve, we can talk about a trade or something. But thanks for the comments, guys. Steve, thanks again for saying I got a great channel. That's awesome. I really appreciate you guys wanting to get to know me a little bit more, and hopefully any new subscribers or the old ones will hopefully connect with me as a knife reviewer a little bit. So as always, guys, make sure to, like, comment, tell me what you thought of this video, and subscribe, and make sure to have fun with your knives.